All right, we got recording started. Okay, hi everybody. Hi Jeanette, thanks for coming on. Hi Scotts. Okay, good evening everybody. I'm so excited for tonight. I can't wait for you to hear Marco and Diane's stories. Real quickly, I just have a couple of announcements. I wanted to let you know that this Thursday, Michelle really wanted me to make sure to promote this. There's a man called, his name is Fraser. Sorry, I should have had this ready to go. He was born and raised into a network marketing family. It's all he's ever known. And today, Michelle believes he's one of probably the top 5 social media influencers in the world. His name is Fraser Brooks. And so the pose will be going live with him on Thursday on the One Person Big Difference page. And that will happen at 11 a.m. Mountain Time and 12 p.m. Central. And she said it will not go longer than an hour. And I know that social media can be very intimidating for a lot of people. So I think this will be something that will be very important for all of us to plug into and just really get some great tips from an expert and just ways that maybe we can not feel so overwhelmed by it and not so intimidated by it. So that is Thursday. I did post that on Team Act. I will post it again on Wednesday just to remind you, and then again on Thursday morning. And then also, plans for Global are underway. I'm so excited for where I made dinner reservations for our team for Thursday night. Thursday night, we'll kick it off as a team, and I made reservations at Benihana. It's where they like throw stuff around and cook in front of you, so it'll be so fun. And I'm getting my email together. I'll be sending that out soon, just with all the plans that are taking place. Sean and Michelle reserved a room on Saturday for us all together and have lunch again. So it should be, there we go. It's just going to be jam-packed, full of really fun activities. So make sure that you're all signed up for the pajama party as well, and then just be looking for my email soon. And then also make sure that you are signed up for the breakout sessions. And I will be posting instructions on how to make sure that you've signed up, and if you haven't, if you want to edit those, I'll post that as well. Okay, so when I was in Puerto Vallarta, there were a lot of circles and gathering that happened around the pool. And I just remember Carrie Williams talking to me a lot in Puerto Vallarta, and she kept bringing up Marco and Diane, Marco and Diane. And I found myself sitting next to Marco when we were in a circle, and I just said, I want to know your story. I want to know more about you. And what I heard just blew me away. They have such an incredible story, and I know it's going to inspire you guys in every way possible. But I want to give them a proper introduction. So Marco and Diane Rodriguez are with us tonight, our special guests. Marco is an occupational therapist and CEO of Transformations Rehab Services, which primarily serves children diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, and autism. He's on the board of directors for the Autism Society. He is an established speaker and best known for his lecture series, which is entitled Unlock Your Brain's Potential. Diane Rodriguez has a degree in science and occupational therapy. She has worked as a pediatric occupational therapist for over 20 years, specializing in autism and sensory processing disorders. And she also has experience as a co-owner of 2 traditional businesses, including a martial arts academy, so be nice to her because she could kick your butt, for 15 plus years, and then currently of Transformations Rehab Services. So Marco and Diane, I just really want to start with you guys talking about how you were introduced to LifeVantage, and did you say yes right away, or what happened after you were introduced, and what made you finally say yes?
You want to go, or should I?
Go ahead.
Okay. So, as you mentioned, Diane and I have our clinic, an outpatient clinic where we work with kids with autism and so forth. And we opened our clinic up. We started about 8 years ago, and then we were with another company. We're just kind of a contract company or contract with another company. And then 5 years ago, we split off and we formed our own clinic. And so 3 years ago, I have an older brother who turned 50 3 years ago. And so we threw him his birthday party, his grand 50th birthday party. And so there we invited all of our old friends from high school. Well, turns out my old quarterback showed up with his wife. Now his wife is Patsy's sister. And so in the course of conversation, they asked us what we did. So I'm explaining about our clinic and so forth and what we do. And Patsy's sister says, wow, you really should talk to my sister. She's got a great product that I think would help your kids. And so I just thought, okay, sure, you know, whatever. I'm here at a party. We're having a good time. I really don't want to talk about business because we really were stressing out about the clinic and everything that was going on. So we just kind of went on about our business. Well, the following Monday, I get a message from Patsy through our Facebook Messenger and wanting to set up a meeting with me to talk to us about it. And I'll be honest with you, I just wasn't quite ready. So I just sort of blew it off, and I just said, you know, and I was trying to be polite and just really didn't want to sit down with her, even though Diane and I had made a decision when we first opened up the clinic that someday we were going to have in our building a sort of a vitamin shop, so to speak, because we knew how important it is for our children, our patients, to get proper nutrition. So that was sort of on the back burner for us, but I didn't know what Patsy wanted to meet with us about. And really at the time we were in a very small building. I really didn't have any room for it. And I thought, I don't have room to have a store yet. I don't have room to house product. We really didn't have the money for the investment part. Again, all of these things that were going through my head. So I just sort of put it off. And she would, every time, you know, she lives in Tucson, we live in El Paso. Every time she'd come to El Paso, every few months, she'd send me a message. Hey, Marco, just want to let you know I'm going to be in El Paso, and I would love to sit down with you and chat with you about this product that we have. I think it would be very beneficial to your patients. And most of the time, I would just ignore her text messages. I wasn't trying to be rude. I just wasn't quite ready. And so part of me said, I hope she keeps texting me because I know someday we will be ready. And a part of me would just say, I just wish she would go away. Now, I found out while we were in Puerto Vallarta that not only was Patsy contact me, but apparently Carrie Williams tried to contact me. In fact, Carrie Dickey tried to call me, and I blew her off. Again, I'm looking back now, I'm thinking, I was such an idiot, right? I mean, I have this, one of the most powerful women in network marketing trying to contact me, trying to help me, and I'm blowing her off. So about in December of 2017, our clinic had grown to the point where we were moving into a new building. And so we moved into this building, and now we finally had a conference room, which was really one of the major factors in making that decision to have Patsy come in and speak to us, because in our old building, I really had no place to sit down and talk with her. And so really a part of it was that I was just embarrassed. Because our clinic was so small, I just really didn't have room for it. So we moved into this 10,000 square foot building and finally had a conference room. So she happened to send me a message. Now, granted, this is 3 years later, and she had been constantly, every few months, she'd just send me a message about wanting to meet with me. I don't know that I would have that kind of patience, but I am certainly grateful that Patsy and Carrie did and didn't just think, man, this guy is such a jerk, right? So Patsy contacted me, and I said, okay, Patsy, you have 1 hour. And the reason why I said that was we agreed to have her come in on a Wednesday. And the reason why Wednesday is because that's when we usually have our administration meeting. So all my directors, rehab directors, leaders in our speech therapy department, and so forth, that's when we meet and we go for business ideas. Diane and I, several months before that, had agreed to go ahead and start bringing in outside speakers for our staff, because up until that point, Diane and I were the only ones that were training our staff. And after a while, they just hear from us all the time. And they just think, oh, okay, well, Marco and Diane are speaking again. So we thought, let's start bringing in some outside speakers. So I said, Patsy, you have 1 hour. That's all I'm going to give you. And so I was actually kind of a coward about it, to be honest with you, because I asked her to come and speak during our administration meeting, because I figured if this was a bad idea, then I wasn't going to have to be the one to tell Patsy no. I could just simply say, my administration team, we talked about it, and this is just not a good time for us. So she comes in, she brings, we set up the monitor, and so she comes in and she's getting everything set up. And I'm thinking, why does she have a speaker? Why do we need a monitor? Why are you not just presenting to us? So I sit back, I've got my arms crossed, my legs crossed, eyes crossed, kind of sitting there like I was weaned on a pickle, baptized in vinegar oil, right? I'm just kind of just very stern. And so all of a sudden I see this woman who now I know is Carrie Williams. And so between Patsy and Carrie, they're talking to us about this company and this nutrition line. And we see the ABC Primetime, which apparently Patsy had sent to me multiple times, and I just never even looked at it. So I'm sitting there and I'm floored by it, right? And then eventually Melody Rodarte comes on. And I'm thinking, wow, so there's a doctor involved in this. Maybe this is something that we should be, really taking a look at. And Diane and I knew, working with kids with autism, we knew that there's a big connection with the whole gut-brain thing. We knew about a little bit about mitochondrial dysfunction. We knew about some of the other issues that our kids have. And so I'm looking at this the whole time. Now, Patsy starts telling her story about her mother. Her mother was diagnosed with colon cancer and had a surgery, but there was still some left and they couldn't take it all out. So the doctor recommended chemotherapy. Well, the mom refused to do it, so she went home, and so Patsy put her on Protan, the NRF2. So Patsy starts telling us about how a year later, she goes back to the doctor, and of course the doctor is very upset about it because she wasn't following the protocol, and come to find out that all the markers were gone. And I sat there and I became very emotional because this was in March of this year. In September of 2017, my father passed away with metastasized prostate cancer. And I remember thinking, wow, if I'd only listened to Patsy 3 years ago, my father would probably still be here. Now, I know that we don't treat, cure, or mitigate disease, but all the evidence to me pointed to the fact or to the belief that my father would still be here. Now, I do believe my father's passed away and he's not suffering anymore, and I do believe he's in heaven, but I'm the one who misses him. He was a great man. So I remember thinking, if we're gonna do this, I remember telling myself, I will never allow someone to come to me and say, so you mean to tell me that you had something that could have helped my loved one, but you were either too selfish or too cowardly to share this with me? I told myself I would never have that happen. So as it turned out, we kind of looked around. Patsy finished her meeting. She left, and to be honest, it was all kind of a blur. So I don't even really know if there was a follow-up, other than we kept on with our administration meeting, and it really kind of changed everything. Our agenda for our administration meeting kind of went out the window. We just kept talking about this new company, this new discovery that we had made. And I said something along the lines of, well, guys, look, I'm in. What do you guys want to do? And I pointed around the table, and it was like, I'm in, I'm in, I'm in, I'm in, I'm in. And every single person who was in that room enrolled. We saw something that not only would help our patients, but could help other people. And so that's kind of how we started. We hit the ground running. I've been through, I've developed a traditional business. I've gone through it. I mean, we have struggled with it. And it's kind of funny because I was telling Carrie, Carrie started her LifeVantage business a little bit over 8 years ago. Well, we started our clinic, the whole idea, the whole concept about 8 years ago. 8 yeyears later, we're just struggling to just barely make a profit. She's a Pro 9 with Pro 10 volume, making what, $60-something thousand a month with no overhead, no inventory, no employees, no HR issues, none of that. And I'm thinking, wow, we really missed the boat in a big, big way. So it took Patsy 3 years to get in front of us. But the way I see it now is we have 3 years of makeup to do. And that's why we have hit this ground running. And I don't care who you are or what you are. You deserve to see this, and you deserve to make your own choices. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
And in those 3 years, I'm assuming she never heard no from you. She just didn't hear from you. Is that right?
Right. So I never told her, stop calling me. I just simply said, this isn't the right time, or I didn't answer at all.
Yeah.
And Tanya, I never heard that. I didn't even know she was contacting Marco. Never got to me at all. So,
right. Yeah, I never shared this with Diane. I never shared this with anyone. It was just a message back and forth between Patsy and I. Yeah.
So tell us what transformations you've seen in your children.
Okay, so once we enrolled, now we didn't wait to see results or progress, or we didn't look at this and say, well, I'm going to try it out. Let me see if this works or not. Because my thought was, what research? Because I hear people all the time say, well, I want to research this myself, right? That was not our situation, because I thought, okay, this is on PubMed.gov. This has been researched by Harvard Medical, Washington State University. This has been LSU and all the different universities and all the different studies. And I thought, what could I possibly find that all of these other universities, with all the millions of dollars of resources and billions of dollars that has been poured in research, that what am I going to find that they haven't already found? So we enrolled, and here's another thing that as far as our enrollment. So we saw this business, we saw a presentation in March. And here we were 8 years later. We didn't even have the 1250 to enroll in the Platinum Pack. We had to wait for our payroll to clear to make sure that everything cleared before we were able to get our money. So we look good, we smell good, but we were broke as heck, right? And there's a lot of people out there that they walk around and they smell good, they look good. You think that, man, they're on your chicken list. Okay, Patsy let us know that we were definitely on her chicken list. I think probably Carrie was the one that was doing a little bit of the prodding. I'm sure Patsy had no desire to keep contacting this guy who kept blowing her off. But you never really know about people. And there's a lot of other things that for the sake of time, I don't necessarily have time to share it right now. But we had to wait about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks before we had the 1250 to enroll in the Platinum Pack. And we did. And so once we enrolled, I thought, okay, well, let's start using this product. Let's start working on it. And Diane fell in love with immediately with the skincare. I was a little bit reluctant, but I came on board and I really liked what it was doing to my face. But my main thing was I wanted to get on the Axio and the Vitality Stack, and I wanted specifically my son Seth. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Seth's story. Seth is 15 years old. When Seth was 7, he was at summer camp. He was walking on some bleachers playing his Game Boy, which he shouldn't have had. But he's walking along the bleachers playing his Game Boy and not paying attention to where he was walking. He got to the edge of the bleachers. The bleachers ended. He didn't see it, and he fell about 8 feet right on his head onto a concrete floor. And he suffered a closed head injury. So we took him to the hospital. Went through all the protocols. We ended up, doing therapy with him. We do neurofeedback. We do occupational therapy with him. We had speech therapists that come in and work with him. So we went through all of that. And it all helped, but there was some little things that just nagging little things that just wouldn't go away. One in particular, he had some facial tics, vocal tics, and stuttering that involved. And he ended up being in special education. Now, typically in special education, you test every year, and 85 is sort of when you score an 85, that's somewhere in the middle. If you score above 85, then you score out of special education, but 85 or below, and you were retained in special education. So typically he would score, for the last 8 years, he scored between 65 and 85. So he wasn't real severe, but he was right on the cusp there. I get him started on the Vitality Stack and the Axio. Approximately 30 days later, he tested for what is now this year's special education. And so I get called in for the results. I'm talking to the diagnostician. She's just staring at me, right? As everybody's coming in the room, and I'm a little nervous about why is this woman continuing to stare at me? And so we get started with the meeting, and she says, Mr. Rodriguez, I don't really quite know what to say, but here's his test scores, and I'm looking at it, and he scored between 85 and 115. I'm thinking, oh boy, this is good, right? She says, yes, he no longer qualifies for special education. We thought, wow, and she said something. She says, in the past, when he would take his test, he needed multiple breaks. And during this exam, she says, he took the entire test without taking any breaks. And she says, in fact, I kept asking him, Seth, do you want to take a break? Do you want to take a break? And after a while, she says that he got annoyed with her and says, no, can I just please finish so I can go outside and play with my friends? A few weeks after that, he takes the STAR test. So in Texas, every year they got to take what's called the STAR test. Well, he blew the test out of the water, and this year he's taking advanced placement, getting college credit in multiple classes. So in the span of less than 90 days, this kid goes from being in special education to being in advanced placement. I was just recently looking at his chemistry grade. He's got a 96 in chemistry. I didn't get a 96 in chemistry. He's just crushing it. And what's funny is that his sister, they're twins, his sister, who didn't have a head injury, she used to always beat him in the STAR test. Well, this year, for the very first time, he outscored her on the STAR test. So she's a very competitive person herself, and she says, oh no, he's not gonna beat me. And so then, of course, she started on the Axio as well. And so it's just been kind of fun. So that's kind of what happened with Seth. With me, you know, I'm a healthy guy. I was taking lots of supplements before this. I was taking turmeric, I was taking green tea. In fact, I was taking literally every single ingredient that's in NRF1, NRF2, and in the Axio. Probiotics, fish oil, I was taking everything with the exception of Bacoba. I had no idea what Bacoba was. But everything else I was taking. So I literally walked around with a little baggie of about 40 capsules. My staff would laugh at me because I walked around with all these supplements, right? Spending $300-400 a month because I wanted to remain healthy. Now I'm about to be 51 years old, and people would laugh, but I'd always say, well, hey, I'm 50 years old and I can outrun you, I can outjump you. And so I knew that these ingredients did things in and of themselves. What I didn't know is about the synergy that Dr. McCord and now, of course, LifeVantage has done. So for me, this was a no-brainer. I can get everything that I was taking before, and now I can take fewer of it, and because of the synergy, it actually helps me. So for me, in about 30 days, I've been a healthy guy, but I had a lot of problems in my knee, a lot of arthritis. I just really couldn't even do lunges hardly or any of that. About 30 days later, I'm noticing that there's no pain. So my son says, hey, can you go out and play basketball with me? And I thought I was gonna go around, just hobble a little bit, just get some rebounds like I used to always do, just hobbling around. We ended up playing for 2.5 hours in a full-blown basketball. So I get in the car on the way home, and I'm thinking, man, I'm gonna really feel this. Next day, nothing. I felt great. And my pain in my knee has been gone. So to me, that was just sort of the icing on the cake. And I mean, I could go on. There's so many stories about our staff that have just had some even more miraculous results than we have. Our patients, we have several patients, children with autism that were nonverbal who have now started speaking. It's just been phenomenal.
And tell me, where do you guys live?
So we live in El Paso, Texas, out in West Texas.
And would you, wow, yeah, okay. Sorry about the dogs. And would you say that there is a lot of people building LifeVantage in El Paso?
From what I've heard, there were 2 distributors that I know of that were in LifeVantage prior to us. I don't know them. I don't know that they've done anything with it. They were probably, as far as I know, they were distributors, but really more like customers. So other than us, I really haven't known of anyone who was in LifeVantage.
So the decision you made when you decided to do this as a business just this year, did you decide, well, I'm going to wait for the leaders to show up, or how did you show yourself to your leaders, and what did you say?
Okay, go ahead, Diane.
I know what she's looking for.
Okay.
She wants to tell you your mindset.
You want to hear about my mindset?
And about what you told Carrie.
Okay. All right.
I remember.
So here's the thing. So first thing I want to say before I say anything else is, for everyone who's listening, if I say anything that offends you, or if I say anything that is remotely different than what your support group is saying, please check with your support group before you change anything, okay? Diane and I, we're just 2 couples building this business. But your support team, they're the ones who are going to be there tomorrow and the next day. They know your situation. So if I say anything that is contrary to what you already know, please, please, please check with your support group. The one thing that I realized, and I remember, we were already business owners. The one thing that I can say is this: the speed at which your business is built is related to your belief. Okay, if you treat this like a hobby, you're going to get hobby results, and hobbies don't make money. Hobbies cost money. But if you treat this like a real business, which it is, okay, you're going to get business results. Now, the biggest challenge for most new distributors is to change from an employee mentality where you're told what to do, and if things get tough and you don't like it, you just quit and find another job, to having a business owner's mentality where even though in this business your life doesn't really depend on it, because this is something that we do in the quote unquote nooks and crannies of our life, but even though your life doesn't depend on it, you treat it as such. When we started our clinic, we put everything we had. We have exhausted every single penny. If we didn't get our clinic up and running, we were going to be ruined. Okay. So when we started our LifeVantage business, we took that same mindset. Okay. We are building this like our life depends on it. Okay. I mean, think about it. If your life depends on it, are you going to hesitate calling that person on your chicken list? No, I don't think so. So I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't really care what people think about me. And typically, that sounds cute and everything. And, it's like, okay, well, people, they want to present themselves as being an original. But then they get into this business or any network marketing, and they can't call a simple person and just ask them if they're interested in an opportunity. So I don't really understand that. And so for us, here's kind of what I asked myself. Okay, and this is something that I would ask other people, right? And again, I apologize. I'm a very straight shooter, and this is how I talk to myself, okay? Have you ever been poor? I have. It's horrible. It's horrible. Have you ever been stressed out about being able to pay your bills? I have. It's horrible. You ever been in a situation where you wanted to help somebody and you couldn't? I have. You ever been in a situation where you wanted to do something for your kids? You wanted to do something for your kids, but you had to tell them, I'm sorry, I just can't afford it. I have. Have you ever lost someone that you knew could have been saved by this company, by this product? Yeah, I have. So when Patsy and Carrie finally got me sitting down and showed me a way that I can help to improve other people's lives by improving their mitochondria function, lowering their oxidative stress levels, and I can make $2 or $3 million a year doing this. Are you kidding me? I mean, a company, a real business that is willable, inheritable, it's transferable. I can be the change agent that alters the course of my family's destiny for generations to come? Seriously? So one of the very first questions that I asked Carrie was, so how many times do I got to share this to make the kind of money you're making? I spent my time at Puerto Vallarta talking to a lot of people because I'm a numbers guy. I wanted to set a goal for myself. How many times did you share this? How many times did you have to share this? How many times did you share this to go Pro 8, Pro 9, Pro 10? And the numbers varied. Right? So it didn't matter. I set a goal for myself. I said, fine, okay? 1,000 times. I'm going to share this thing 1,000 times. And if I've got to contact 3,000, really what I did was I set a goal to contact 3,000 people as quickly as I could. My goal is to send out and make contacts with at least 30, 40 people a week. Now, how am I doing that? That's another teaching session altogether, okay? The point is that we're really wanting to do this. I may not be the first Pro 12, because I'm sure Kerry Dickey's way ahead of me, and all you guys, all the elites are ahead of me, okay? But our goal is to be the fastest Pro 12 in this company's history, and to try to set a record. We may not make it. I'll tell you what, we're certainly gonna have our tongues hanging out when we get there, because we're running, okay? I mean, why in the world would I be afraid to share this? You know, I think about things. I think about my father, for example, right? He was a military guy. His name was Sergeant Rock. He was a very, very hard man. This man did 2 tours in Vietnam. Okay, he was injured in the line of duty, won the Medal of Heroism, and he went through so much, and he never quit. The only thing that can happen in this business is that a prospect says no. I mean, come on, seriously? I mean, am I that soft that a no destroys me? I mean, my attitude is, okay, man, you know, I don't say it. I'm nice to him about it, and really, but my thought is, okay, you know what? Get out of my way. Now, what I actually say is, well, that's fine. If anything changes for you, let me know, right? What I say and what I think is sometimes there's a disconnect there. So conquering your own fear, that's kind of the key to that. You know, and the only way that you conquer your fear is just to do it. Practice, practice, practice. Okay? I'm afraid of heights. Let me say this. I used to be afraid of heights. The way I conquered that was I would purposely put myself in a position where I was in a high place. I would climb up on my roof and just sit there on my roof, just looking over. That would scare the heck out of me, right? But I've been able to conquer some of that. I had a fear of being underwater. So guess what we did in Puerto Vallarta? We scuba dived, right? I had an anxiety attack before we went out there. I'm in the water. I've got all my gear on, and I'm having an anxiety attack out there. I had to swim all the way back to the ladder, and I'm clinging onto the ladder with dear life. And finally, I had to tell myself, Marco, is this real danger, or is this just your own conjured up fear? Look around. Nobody else is acting this way. And I let go. And I'm so excited so grateful that I have such a supportive wife like Diane. She just came up to me and just said, are you okay? If you want to quit, you know, she didn't say if you want to quit. She just asked, are you okay? And I know that if I had said, no, I want to get out of the water, she wouldn't have changed her mind about me. But because of that, I said, no, I'm going to do this. And we went scuba diving. I used to have a fear of speaking in front of people. What I'm doing right now, used to scare the heck out of me. Speaking in front of people, I'm a speaker now, and I do a lot of in-services now, I do a lot of seminars, but there was a time when I literally would go into the bathroom and just vomit before a meeting. I couldn't drink out of a cup. I had to drink out of a plastic bottle because I would shake so much. In fact, even now, when I'm doing an in-service, or I'm doing some sort of a seminar, I use a PowerPoint. Do you know why? Because that way people aren't looking at me. They're looking at the PowerPoint. And I can hide behind the podium every now and then, grab my water, and I'm shaking while I'm drinking it, but I still do it. I have literally fallen in love with that anxiety, because every time I finish it, man, I feel like a king, right? It's maybe 30 minutes, 1 hour of fear. But then I've got like days and days and days where I'm living on the high of having conquered that. The only way to conquer that is to go through the numbers. So if I've got to contact 3,000 people, if I've got to do 1,000 presentations to make $1 million a year, so be it. Let's do it. Let's bring it on.
I've fallen in love with that anxiety. I love that statement. That's so awesome. I know because you're so driven and you want this opportunity to work, you asked Carrie Williams, what do I need to do to get your attention? And what did she say to you?
Well, we sat down and we talked about the duplicatability of this business. Okay? And what I got from it, and I'm going to paraphrase because we've had lots of meetings about this. And I had to overcome some things myself. I mean, I didn't just get into this business and have it all figured out. Going to Puerto Vallarta really helped me, especially sitting there with you and sitting there with Marcy Steiner. She really straightened me out really good. Listening to Melody Wodarte's story, my gosh, I mean, I sat there and I nearly lost it listening to her story. But what I got out of this is really, there's a blueprint for success. I don't have to try to figure this out. And I don't have to be a genius about this. I don't have to be a great presenter. What I need to do is just follow the blueprint. There's I need to get outside of my comfort zone, right? Learn, yes, there's things that you have to learn, but there's a support team. And you know, I remember Carrie, she said to me, because when I asked her, what is it how can I get you back here? And we're in El Paso, there's nothing here. There is no big blue calendar. We're the big blue calendar out here. There's nothing. And so I wanted Carrie out here. So I asked her, I said, what does it take to get you down on a regular basis? And she says, look, I'm going to tell you what Carrie Dickey told me. I will not come to start a fire, but I will come and pour gasoline on the fire. And I looked at her and I said, fine, I'm going to build the biggest freaking bonfire that you have ever seen. Okay, and those people in Phoenix, and I'm sorry, if you're from Phoenix or Tucson, I'm sorry, but this is what I said to her. I said, you know what, those people have had you for 8 years. If they haven't utilized your talents, if they haven't utilized you, that's their problem. This is our turn, right? So we sat down and we went over the blueprint. She taught us about the event cycle, right? Going to academy every month. We drive to Tucson every single month. In fact, there was one month when I was speaking in Galveston, Texas. And so, I mean, that was too far. But the closest academy was in Austin. So it was just over 4 hours away. So we got up on
3 in the morning.
Well, we got up at about 3 in the morning. Got in. I finished speaking on Friday night. I got in the car. We drove to Austin. We got up at about 3 in the morning. Drove to Austin. Got there just in time. Actually, we got there about 8:30 because we always want to sit in the front seat. If you beat me to an academy, okay, I take that personally. I kick myself. I want to be the first one there, the last one to leave. I want to sit in the front row because there's a magic of sitting in that front row. So we get there, and in other words, we have not missed one single academy. And if I can help it, okay, I'm going to get there to every single one. All right, we went to Anaheim, right? We're never going to miss a big function. We didn't miss Anaheim. We are not going to miss Salt Lake City, right? We're going to go to every single thing. Why? Because that's where you get the education. I'm a professional. I want to be a professional network marketer in LifeVantage. I didn't treat our clinic or our licenses as therapists as an amateur. We have to get educated. I have to continuously they even call it continuing education in our practice. So I understand that you have to go out and get educated. We want to be professionals at this. I mean, are you kidding me? An occupational therapist at their best at a job, the most they're going to ever make, they can make 6 figures. If I become a professional in this, I can make $2-3 million a year. Why would I not want to become a full-blown professional like this? So she taught us about that. She taught us about the core habits. A lot of it, she taught us about, what books to read. She recommended GoPro. If you haven't read the book, I mean, okay, let me put it this way. If you're serious about building your business, not just read it, learn it. Learn GoPro. Learn it well enough that you can actually teach it without the book. Your first year in network marketing, we read that. I'm going through that over and over and over again. I'm going to be driving to Dallas in a few days to go work our group in Dallas. You better believe I'm going to be in the car for 10 hours. You better believe I'm going to be listening to my audiobooks. I'm going to be listening to GoPro and your first year network marketing. I want to be a professional at this. Why in the world would I not?
I love it. You're so amazing. I love the posture. I love the belief. It's so infectious. You've given us so many amazing nuggets. Diane, do you have anything that you would like to add?
No, I've enjoyed every minute of it. My daughter is also a distributor in the network, in the business. All of our kids are on board. Our 15-year-olds are waiting to turn 18 so they can take over his mom's distributor. I mean, it is a family event, and the culture and the people, the caliber of the people that we have met, I have fallen in love with. Here in El Paso, in our clinic, Marco and I are the CEO and the COO and the owners of the business. Everybody looks to us for advice to teach them. And in the last 6 months that we've been doing this, it's been a great opportunity to meet the type of people we have. And then we get to finally learn from somebody else. It's been the type of people we have met, the culture of this business, we have done more things and met more people from around the world in the last 6 months than we have in the last 6 years. And we're loving every minute of it.
Yeah, we've said that, Diane and I kind of agree that we're certainly glad that there is a lot of money involved, but even if there wasn't, we would still do this just to be able to associate ourselves with the caliber of people that we met in Puerto Vallarta. I mean, people like yourself, Carrie Dickey, Carrie Williams, Mary Steiner, the Poe, my goodness, like just the people. We want to have friendships with people like that. We would do this even if there was no money. But I'm glad there is.
Right. Yeah. You just, in everything that you said, Marco, you taught us. So I appreciate you guys for being such incredible teachers, for being doers, for just leading by example so that the rest of us can learn. With everything you said to us tonight, there were just so many nuggets just about your belief and your business will grow based on the size of your belief and build it like your life depends on it. And I love when you said, I don't have to be a great presenter. I just have to follow the blueprint. I think so many times we overthink it. We get in our head rather than just letting our passion come out and utilizing stories like Seth's and how it's transformed his life completely. Those are the kind of stories that we need to share with other people. And just like you said too, like, I don't want anyone to come to me and say, you mean you had something that could have helped my loved ones and you didn't share it with me? Right? It's such a selfish thing. So I appreciate you guys so much for coming on tonight. We always close in prayer. You're more than welcome to stay on if you would like to. And I just thank you again for just being a part of our Zoom tonight. You blessed us in such a big way. So thank you guys.
May I say one more thing before we close?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Here's the thing that I would want everyone, and this is what I'm teaching my group, okay? To divorce yourself from the results and fall in love with the process, okay? You're not out trying to convince anyone. I'm not trying to convince anyone. If I contact, there's just no way. I mean, think about the logic behind this. If I contact 1, 2, 3,000 people, right? Where do you find them? Everywhere. If I contact, and even if I was horrible at the beginning of it, I'm going to eventually get good at it. You can't do something 1,000 times and still be horrible at it, okay? If I contacted that many people, there's no way that I'm not going to find 5 people, 10 people that will duplicate exactly that. And there's no way that if they duplicate it, there's no way, it's not possible that they're not going to find 5 to 10 people who duplicate it. Now, you may end up enrolling 30, 40, 50 people, but what I'm talking about is finding 5 to 10 who will duplicate the process and redo it. It's not possible. So I'm not trying to convince anyone. In fact, I'm a horrible closer, but I am looking for the people who say, you know what, I want what you have. And those are the people that I'm going to run with. I don't want to convince anyone. If I've got to drag you in, I've got to drag you through, and I don't have time for that. I'm going to go find the ones who want to. So it's a difference between trying to convince someone and just thinking, okay, I'm going to share this with them because there are people out there who are hurting. They're hurting physically, emotionally, mentally, financially. They're hurting, and that's what I'm looking for. If you change your mindset to that, it really takes a lot of the edge off. I don't care if you say yes or no. I go home at night and I'm like, at least I shared this with them. Okay? So if you change your mindset for that, and I think that's what happens to most new distributors, they think they've got to go and get everyone. Stop it. Just stop it. Go share this with people and let them make their own choices. Fall in love with that process. I love sharing this. I shared this with some people that were on my chicken list, and they ended up being customers, and a couple of them ended up not doing anything. Either way, I went home that night and I'm like, yes, I got out of my comfort zone. I conquered my fear, and I shared this with the most intimidating people in my circle. If you can get and fall in love with that, this business is a piece of cake.
Mm-hmm. Not sharing it with the most people, but sharing it with the right people. Absolutely. Right. We're just looking for the right people. Okay, you guys. Well, let's close in prayer and then we'll wrap this up. Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you so much for Diane and Marco, and just the fact that Patsy stayed persistent, Lord. And we know it's not always in our timing, but it's in your timing. And we're grateful that their timing came to be and that they saw the big picture and said yes to this, and that they can bless our lives tonight through this Zoom. We thank you for the gifts of Protandem and how it's helped their son Seth. And I just pray, Lord, for everyone on the Zoom tonight, people that watch it back, that they go through this journey with driving through the fear. We're all going to have it. It's inevitable. But help us, Lord, to know that you open the door for a reason. And just help us to work through that fear, to love the fear, to love the anxiety, and to just go forward knowing that you put us all here for a reason. Help us to keep moving forward and to have faith and lean into you, knowing that your journey is set for us, to have faith in that, to trust the timing, to trust the process, to love the no's, and know with all of it come amazing lessons to grow us in such a big way. We give all glory to you, Lord. Thank you so much for this opportunity and for all these amazing people. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
All right. Thanks again, Marco and Diane. We really appreciate you guys.